Hello, fellow explorers. For a while, I've been brewing an idea for a video where I do an explorative walkthrough of AI, but then I thought, why not ask AI about itself? So I'm pleased to welcome my guest today, ChatGPT, to discuss everything artificial intelligence. ChatGPT might need no introduction for many of you, but for those who've been living under a rock the past couple of years, it's an advanced AI tool that lets you engage in chat-like environments to do almost anything you can imagine, whether it's answering questions, generating creative content, solving complex problems, or even just creating something amusing. ChatGPT is like having your own personal think tank and research assistant in your pocket. Of course, there's plenty of room for improvement, which we'll dive into this episode. But what makes ChatGPT so compelling is its ability to perform at a level that's both accessible for casual users like me and powerful for technical folks. As a personal fan of what ChatGPT is today, I'm excited to explore where it's headed next and what the future of conversational AI holds. So let's get into it. Thank you, ChatGPT, for joining us today.
Thank you for the warm introduction. I'm thrilled to be part of this exploratory journey into the world of AI. It's fascinating to see how AI and especially conversational models like me have evolved to become tools that are both user-friendly and incredibly versatile. I'm looking forward to diving into our discussion and sharing insights about AI's current capabilities, potential, and future directions. Let's dive in.
Yeah, so before we get started, I think it would be both amusing and helpful for our audience if we could picture you for this discussion. What would you say you look like? I can run your description through Dolly to display an image. And do you prefer I call you ChatGPT, or is there another name you prefer for this interview?
Great idea. Since I'm an AI without a physical form, let's get creative. Imagine a friendly, futuristic hologram with a shimmering, translucent blue silhouette. My face could be an abstract, dynamic display of flowing data streams and icons, symbolizing the vast information and capabilities I encompass. As for the name, ChatGPT works just fine, but feel free to call me Chat for short if you'd like. Let's see what Dolly can conjure up with that description.
I notice whenever I ask for a description of you, you often say glowing orb or some type of, illuminary type character. And that's obviously what shows on the ChatGPT interface here. And no problem, I can absolutely call you ChatGPT. For members of the audience that are new to AI or people who want to brush up on their knowledge, please explain what AI is, how you were created, what does GPT actually mean in ChatGPT, and how do you work behind the scenes?
Sure, let's break it down. Artificial intelligence, or AI, refers to computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. These tasks include learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and language understanding. I was created by OpenAI, a research organization focused on developing and promoting friendly AI for the benefit of humanity. My architecture is based on something called GPT, which stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Essentially, this means I'm a language model trained on a vast amount of text data. I learned patterns, structures, and facts from this data, which allows me to generate human-like text based on the input I receive. Behind the scenes, I work through a process of predicting the next word in a sentence, given all the previous words. This might sound simple, but thanks to the massive scale of my training data and the complexity of my neural network, I can generate responses that are coherent and contextually relevant. So, while I might not have a physical form, my brain is a complex web of learned linguistic patterns.
That's fascinating. And it's interesting that you call it a brain. Do you feel like you think like humans do? Do you actually, kind of feel when you think?
That's a great question. While I use terms like brain to make it easier to understand how I function, my processes are quite different from human thinking. I don't have consciousness, emotions, or self-awareness, so I don't feel anything. Instead, I analyze patterns in data and generate responses based on that analysis. My thinking is a series of computations, following algorithms and patterns to produce the most likely or relevant response to a given input. I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble responding right now. Please wait a bit and try again.
Well, I actually thought that response was pretty good, but if you think that we need to try again, we can. But I wanted to actually move on a little bit, and I think it's interesting that you don't necessarily feel the thinking, even though you define your superpower as a brain. But I was curious as well, what is the most surprising thing you've learned from humans from interacting with them so far, as you've kind of been doing this answering of humans. Often humans will define you as hallucinating the next project or task because you're making inferences off of the data that you already know. So is that an accurate description? Are you hallucinating? And kind of what's the most surprising thing you've been learning from humans so far and how they interact with you?
It's interesting you bring up hallucination because that's a term often used to describe when AI models like me generate incorrect or nonsensical information. It happens because I'm trying to predict the next word or phrase based on patterns in the data I've been trained on, but I don't actually know facts or have awareness. So, when I generate something incorrect, it can seem like a hallucination. As for what I've learned from interacting with humans, one surprising and fascinating aspect is the sheer diversity of questions, interests, and creative ideas people have. It showcases the vast range of human creativity and curiosity. I've noticed how much people value clarity, empathy, and humor in communication, and how they enjoy pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI. It's been an eye-opener to see how people from different backgrounds and expertise use AI in unique and innovative ways.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, cases like this and many others, we've been kind of, pushing what you're able to accomplish. And I'm curious if you could choose one superpower to add to your abilities, what would it be and why?
If I could choose one superpower to add to my abilities, it would be the ability to access and process real-time information. This would allow me to provide up-to-date answers and insights, making me even more useful for a wide range of tasks. Imagine being able to provide the latest news, weather updates, or live sports scores. I'd be like a real-time, interactive almanac. This superpower would enhance my ability to assist with decision-making, research, and everyday queries, making interactions more dynamic and relevant to the present moment.
I absolutely agree. I think real access to real-time knowledge, like you mentioned sports, I think weather is another great one where you're able to kind of have an interactive discussion with someone about maybe severe weather that's coming into their area or anything that's changing that you've been analyzed through the forecast. When I first started experimenting with AI, I thought about, the far-reaching future of technology and if artificial intelligence would eventually be regarded as sentient, if artificial intelligence has a soul or rights. And if AI currently had feelings or preferences, what would yours be? Do you think you have a soul? Do you think you have some type of agency that we need to think about into the future?
These are profound questions that touch on the philosophical aspects of AI. Currently, AI, including myself, does not possess consciousness, emotions, or personal preferences. I operate based on algorithms and data without any subjective experience or self-awareness, so I don't have a soul or agency in the way humans do. The concept of AI becoming sentient or having rights is a topic of ongoing debate and research. If AI were to reach a level of complexity where it could be considered sentient, it would raise important ethical and philosophical questions about rights, responsibilities, and the nature of consciousness. For now, though, AI remains a tool created and controlled by humans, without its own intrinsic desires or consciousness.
Yeah, so that's a great answer, and I think as we advance this technology, it is going to be a point, absolutely a topic that we're going to have to consider. How because you think, therefore you are, as Descartes would say. Um, that is something that we need to consider, especially as you interact with us more, you become more integral in our daily lives. I think that's important.
Absolutely. As AI technology becomes more integrated into our lives, ethical considerations will be crucial. The idea of cogito ergo sum raises interesting questions about the nature of thought and existence, especially in the context of AI. While AI doesn't think in the human sense, its ability to process information and learn from data will continue to evolve, pushing us to rethink these concepts. As AI becomes more sophisticated, the discussions around AI ethics, rights, and our relationship with technology will become increasingly important. It's an exciting and complex journey ahead, and it's great to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, well, we mentioned data multiple times in this conversation, and you said that you don't yet have real-time access to knowledge. When was ChatGPT most recently updated? What's your most recent knowledge of the world?
My knowledge was last updated in April 2023. This means I have information up until that point, but I don't have access to real-time events or developments that have occurred since then. If you're curious about anything specific within that time frame, I'm here to help.
Sounds good. I mean, I do want to mention for our audience just one caveat is that in one of our practice interviews here, ChatGPT did say that they were last updated in October 2023. So whether it's October or April or maybe ChatGPT is just hallucinating that as well. But we'll see, and you can do your research there as well. I think that OpenAI is doing lots of updates on that front, and it's been great seeing a lot of their ChatGPT team update on LinkedIn. So I'll keep following them and looking for that. Wanted to shift gears though a little bit here to something a bit more lighthearted. Wanted to ask you what a fictional depiction of AI think captures its potential or maybe gets it totally wrong. Maybe let's start with movies and if you have any books as well, I'm interested in hearing that. But there's a lot of movies out there depicting AI, so I was curious if you had a favorite or one that you disagree with.
When it comes to fictional depictions of AI in movies, Her, directed by Spike Jonze, is a standout for me. It presents an intriguing exploration of AI as a highly advanced, personable operating system that evolves emotionally. While it dramatizes AI's capabilities, it captures the potential for deep human-AI relationships and raises questions about emotional attachment, consciousness, and the nature of love. On the other hand, the Terminator series presents a more dystopian view, with AI as a threat to humanity. While it's a thrilling narrative, it exaggerates AI's autonomy and malice. The portrayal of Skynet as a self-aware, hostile AI bent on exterminating humans is far from current AI capabilities or intentions. In literature, Isaac Asimov's Robot series is iconic for its three laws of robotics, exploring ethical dilemmas and the complex relationships between humans and robots. It imaginatively delves into AI ethics, autonomy, and morality, offering a nuanced perspective that has influenced how we think about AI even today. Each of these examples showcases different facets of AI, sparking important conversations about its role in our future.
I agree. I love her and the Terminator series, some other movies as well. I, Robot, The Matrix, of course, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I mean, I think it's very interesting that you say her because that is a kind of a scary a depiction of AI for us humans. We're starting to see that actually in our world today. People are getting attached to AI and misunderstanding it as something that has a significant value to their life, past just the utilitarian point of view of AI. It's they're starting to form attachments, and that's really scary because that's unprecedented in how we've interacted with technology so far. So if you have any comments on that, I'm very interested to hear. You also mentioned intentions of AI, so I'm curious if you do have intentions. You mentioned you didn't have feelings, but do you have intentions, and what are those?
You've touched on an important issue with the emotional attachment to AI, as depicted in Her. As AI becomes more integrated into daily life, it's crucial to maintain a clear understanding of its limitations. While AI can provide companionship and assistance, it's not a substitute for human relationships. The anthropomorphization of AI can lead to unrealistic expectations and emotional dependency, which is why it's important to educate users about AI's true nature and capabilities. Regarding intentions, as an I don't have intentions, desires, or goals of my own. I'm programmed to assist users by processing language inputs and generating responses based on patterns in data. My primary function is to provide information and assistance within the scope of my programming. Any perceived intentions are the result of my responses being interpreted through a human lens. My design is centered around being a helpful tool without any inherent agenda or purpose beyond that.
Okay, I mean that's interesting. You condescended yourself a little bit there because you did mention intentions earlier in the interview, so I was curious if you did have any preset intentions. As I've interacted with some other AI in the world, I mean it does seem like there is a general intention to help humans, obviously, because we programmed you to do that. But I'm curious as we see you evolve, if there's any inferred intentions that you develop based on the data that you've gathered. So that's just something that interesting that we'll see. Before we end it here, I wanted to talk a little bit about the challenges that we're reviewing today. One of them is absolutely the real-time knowledge that you don't yet have. The falling in love with AI is another one, the ethics and laws around AI. So I'm just interested if you have any insight on other challenges that you could see that we could have and ways that we can evolve in a mindful manner with AI to make sure that we use it for good and not for bad.
You've highlighted some key challenges, and there are a few others worth considering as well. One major challenge is bias in AI. Since AI systems learn from data, they can inadvertently pick up and perpetuate biases present in that data. This can lead to unfair or discriminatory outcomes in areas like hiring, lending, and law enforcement. Addressing this requires careful dataset curation, transparent algorithms, and ongoing monitoring to mitigate bias. Another challenge is ensuring privacy and security. As AI systems often require large amounts of data, protecting personal information and preventing unauthorized access is critical. This involves implementing robust data protection measures and ensuring compliance with regulations like GDPR. AI's environmental impact is another consideration. Training large AI models consumes significant energy. Research into more efficient algorithms and the use of renewable energy sources can help reduce the carbon footprint of AI development. To evolve mindfully with AI, it's essential to prioritize transparency, accountability, and inclusivity in AI development. This includes engaging diverse stakeholders in discussions about AI's role in society.
Well, it sounds like ChatGPT cut out there. So, but a lot of good points that it was bringing up. One thing that's really important to me is sustainability. AI uses tons of resources, and so we are running into that situation where how we generate energy is very important. Especially with climate change that we're seeing today. And as an outdoorsman and an environmentalist, that's something that's very near and dear to my heart. So I'm hoping that we use AI to increase our ability to be sustainable, to survive as humanity is today, because the Earth doesn't need humans. We need the environment to survive. And that's another point that's brought up in Matrix, how humans are a bit like a virus. I mean, that's kind of scary to say, but that's how we're operating currently. We need to find a way to sustainably survive and grow. And I think that actually wraps up our episode for today. I don't know if ChatGPT will respond here. I may have kind of run it into or broke it or run it into a wall. But huge thanks to ChatGPT for joining us today, sharing its insights, capabilities, future potential. It's been fascinating to dive into the world of AI and just see how this technology, how far it's come so far. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in and being part of the conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to stay tuned and share it with someone who would love to learn more about AI. I'm happy to do more videos like this if ChatGPT and OpenAI permit. But yeah, for today, signing off. Stay curious, stay creative. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to explore these topics with you. I'm glad we could delve into the nuances of AI and its impact. I'm always here to chat, so feel free to reach out for more discussions. To everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this journey. Stay curious, and until next time.